By now, I'm sure everybody has seen clips and read articles and probably seen other videos about what transpired in the White House in the Oval Office on Monday when Donald Trump met with the president of El Salvador. He attacked the media. He admitted that he is just openly defying the Supreme Court. He admitted that he is a very weak man because he cannot convince the man sitting next to him to send back the wrongfully deported man. So it was a crap show from start to finish. But dig a little deeper into it, and you'll realize that Donald Trump was showing us something else on Monday. Something that may or may not be of importance to you, but it is of importance to me, so I want to talk about it. Donald Trump showed us, through his actions, through the very setting of that little get-together, that he is, in fact, without a doubt, the trashiest person to ever serve as the President of the United States of America. And I say that mainly not just because he slandered Kilmar Abrego Garcia, like he slandered him up and down, that alone is very trashy, but it was the interaction that Donald Trump had with CNN's White House correspondent Kaitlin Collins that really sealed the deal that this man is in fact the trashiest person to ever inhabit the White House. And I will read you that quote in just a moment, but first, a quick word from today's video sponsor. First, Elon Musk gutted federal agencies. Then he slashed public services. Now, his people are fighting to keep their corruption under wraps. But a federal judge ruled Musk's alleged Department of Government efficiency is not exempt from open records laws. Judge Christopher Cooper made it clear that the Trump administration completely failed to argue against the fact that DOJ is acting with massive unchecked power. Ground News analyzed dozens of sources covering this from across the political spectrum. And comparing coverage, you'll see how some spin this as a partisan issue while others call it what it is, proof of corruption. Same story, different spin, and exactly why you can't blindly trust the first headline you see without knowing the biases behind them. That's why I've been relying on my partners at Ground News for a long time. If you like my show, you'll love how their app and website lets you compare coverage with context on each source's political bias, credibility, and financial incentives. This way, you're not just taking one source's word for what's happening, you're seeing past the layers of selective reporting shaping your worldview. Billionaires and political agendas are controlling more and more of our media, deciding what they want us to see and think. Ground News, on the other hand, it's independent, it's nonpartisan, and only committed to helping us think critically about the stories shaping everything from public opinion to public policy. And since I can't track everything Trump and Musk are doing or undoing alone, I've curated feeds that track them for me from credible sources to make sure I'm giving you all the most reliable information. And now you can too, for nearly half the price. Go to ground.news/Farron to get the same unlimited access Vantage plan that I use for just $5 a month. Take back control of how you stay informed today. The link is in the video description. So as I was saying, Donald Trump made a complete fool of himself when he attacked CNN reporter Kaitlin Collins, who was asking a very simple question. But here is how Donald Trump addressed her. Right after he and Bukele had been talking, he decided to take some questions, and he goes to Kaitlin Collins and he says, quote, "Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CNN." Right off the bat, that is super trashy. That is an absolute low-class way to address anybody. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's your mortal enemy. That is trashy. And then, of course, Kaitlin Collins kind of shrugged it off and then started asking her a question about, hey, you're defying the Supreme Court, the checks and balances we have. And then Trump cut her off and said, quote, "How long do we have to answer this question from you? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over, and that's why nobody watches you anymore? You have no credibility. Trash. The man is absolute trash. He's trash with money, sure. But money can't buy you class, as anyone who's ever watched any episode of The Real Housewives of Anywhere knows. You can be the richest person in the world and still be one of the trashiest people in the world. And Donald Trump loves to prove that to the American public and to the entire world any given day. And another thing that I will tell you was exceptionally trashy, and this may seem a little weird, but bear with me on this. The setting. When you had Donald Trump sitting there, El Salvadoran President Bukele next to him, also, by the way, not wearing a suit, but he didn't called out like Volodymyr Zelensky did. But anyway, what was behind them? And this was the first thing I noticed about that little get-together. Behind him, nothing but gold. Golden vases, golden frames around the pictures, gold in the wallpaper, gold around the little table where all the other gold was sitting on. Gold, gold, gold. I mean, it looked like Saddam Hussein's palace, for God's sakes. And we're dealing with that level of a despot right now. That is what Donald Trump is. But more importantly, he's a guy that is so trashy that he feels the need to flash his wealth, right? Look at all this gold. Look at how wealthy I am. If you're bragging about your money, if you brag about things that you have, you are trashy. That is what this is. So again, maybe that's not the most important thing, but it is something I noticed, and it's something that people need to talk about. This man sitting in the White House is the lowest class, biggest piece of trash we have ever had in the White House. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel, and while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform. That, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.